This is the moment Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez caught Robert F. Kennedy Jr. off guard with one question about billions in healthcare fraud, and his reaction raised more questions than answers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary Kennedy, for being here today. It's actually not our first time meeting. We met a very, very long time ago when I was 9 years old in Westchester Putnam County at a Riverkeeper event. And I remember back then you talking about the importance of science and environmental action at that time. Listening to a lot of your discussion and a lot of the messages that you provide to people, you talk a lot about corporate influence and corruption in government. And this is an area that's very important to me, and it's an area that I do a lot of work in. I am, as a public servant, completely financially divested of any conflicts of interest with any healthcare companies, any stocks, any lawsuits that I would financially benefit from. Are you?
Yes.
You're completely divested?
Yes.
You have no financial interest in any lawsuit, crypto, none of that?
No. Oh, okay. Crypto? I own Bitcoin.
Okay. And do you have any other securities or assets?
I don't. I mean, I had to go through this with the Office of Government Ethics, and I had a few interests that were very minor that I divested.
Okay, just checking. I'd always like to.
It's a good question.
I always like to know
what
what the field is before I enter conversations. So thank you for that. In the healthcare space, something that we've both spoken to is that some of the worst actors are in the for-profit medical space. Are in for-profit health insurance, big pharma, et cetera. And one of the worst companies, actually, is UnitedHealthcare in this respect. UnitedHealthcare is the largest health insurance company in the country. They are the largest employer of doctors and own thousands of pharmacies, clinics, surgery centers, and home health agencies, as well as hospice providers. Secretary Kennedy, are you aware that President Trump's Department of Justice is reportedly investigating UnitedHealthcare for criminal insurance fraud in some of their for-profit health insurance plans, like Medicare Advantage?
I'm not aware of that investigation.
You are not aware that the Trump Department of Justice is investigating the largest insurance company in America that
No, I'm not aware of.
For fraud in Medicare Advantage?
No, I'm not aware of that.
That you have jurisdiction over?
It doesn't surprise me.
Okay. In your submitted testimony, you said HHS takes seriously our role as responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars. Are you aware that for-profit insurance corporations like UnitedHealthcare have been found to be defrauding public dollars of more than $80 billion a year?
I'm not aware of that number, but
I'm
aware that there's fraud across the for-profit sector.
Respectfully, Secretary Kennedy, if we're making decisions around waste, fraud, and abuse, this is the largest source of waste, fraud, and abuse of public dollars in the public insurance space.
You say $80 million?
$80 billion a year.
Did you say 80 million or 80 billion?
80 with a B, billion.
With a B,
yeah. If that's the case, why did you nearly double the rate that taxpayer dollars give for-profit insurance companies like United next year, if you don't know those things?
Double the rate? How did I do that?
So your agency nearly doubled the taxpayer dollars that for-profit insurance corporations like United will be paid next year, meaning these companies, the largest of whom is under investigation, criminal investigation by the Trump administration, will be receiving an additional $25 billion from your agency.
How is that happening?
I would be happy to submit to the congressional record evidence of this. I will enter the CMS press release from April 7th of 2025 into the record, which states that Medicare Advantage corporations will now receive a 5.06% increase in payments next year under your jurisdiction, Mr. Secretary. This is up from 2.2%.
I mean, what rate?
Without objection.
Proposed from the Biden administration. You are doubling the rate that the Biden.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
Criminally investigated companies.
The gentlelady's time has expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman.
What makes this exchange so compelling is how controlled and deliberate it is from the very beginning. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't rush into confrontation. She sets the stage carefully, starting with something that seems simple but is actually critical: conflicts of interest. That opening isn't small talk. It's strategic, because once you establish whether someone has financial ties to the industries they regulate, you're defining the credibility of everything that follows. And then she pivots, not emotionally, but structurally, into the real issue: the role of for-profit insurers in public healthcare. When she brings up UnitedHealthcare, she's not just naming a company, she's pointing to an entire system where private corporations are deeply embedded in programs funded by taxpayers. Medicare Advantage, in particular, sits right at that intersection where public dollars meet private profit, and that's exactly where oversight has to be strongest. But here's where the moment shifts. When she asks about an alleged Department of Justice investigation, the response is immediate: not aware. And that's not just a casual answer. That's a revealing one. Because when you're leading an agency like Health and Human Services, awareness of major investigations involving the largest players in your system isn't optional, it's fundamental. So the issue isn't just whether the claim is accurate, it's whether the leadership responsible for oversight is fully engaged with the risks inside the system. Then comes the number, the one that changes the tone of the entire exchange: tens of billions in alleged fraud. And again, the response is uncertainty. Not a challenge, not a detailed rebuttal, but a lack of familiarity. That gap between the scale of the claim and the level of awareness is what makes this moment land the way it does. Because what Ocasio-Cortez does next is crucial. She connects that alleged fraud to policy decisions happening right now. She points to increased payment rates to these same insurance companies and asks a simple, direct question: if this level of abuse is even potentially real, why is more taxpayer money being directed into the system? That's not just a political question. That's a governance question. Budgets reflect priorities, and when funding increases in areas under scrutiny, it demands a clear explanation, not just for Congress, but for the public whose money is being spent. From a democratic perspective, this is exactly why oversight matters. It's not enough to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse in general terms. You have to identify where it's happening, quantify it, and act on it. And when there are credible concerns about large-scale misuse of public funds, the expectation is urgency, clarity, and accountability. At Blue Voice, we don't just replay these clips, we break them down so you understand what they actually mean and why they matter. Because behind every exchange like this is a bigger story about power, policy, and who the system is really working for. If you want more deep, fact-driven commentary that helps you cut through the noise and stay truly informed, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Blue Voice, because understanding moments like this is how we hold leaders accountable and push for a system that works for everyone.